Hello and welcome to the Pearly Eye Review. I'm PJ, and last night I got the chance to watch The Little Mermaid live, and I wanted to talk about that. I wanted to give my thoughts and my overall review of it. This production starred Auli'i Cravalho. You know her as the voice of Moana. And I had to write some of these names down. Graham Phillips as Prince Eric, Queen Latifah as Ursula, Amber Riley from Glee as MC, and John Stamos as Chef Louis, and Shaggy as Sebastian the Crab. Um, let's start with talking about, and I'm sorry for the noise in the background. Somebody's doing my yard. They're cutting the grass and all that. So sorry for that buzzing sound. But anyways, I wanted to start with, let's start with the production of this. I like what I saw. I liked the production of Ariel's grotto. I liked the color scheme, the stage design. I liked Prince Eric's ship, or Ursula's lair. I thought that was very good. And the kiss the girl scene. I thought that was also very good. Now, also I want to explain how this worked was they played the original animated classic movie along with this live production. What it was is they would play the movie and then it would transition into the musical numbers and then the live production would take over. And the transitions between it I thought were done very well. When they would come on and take their cue to sing and dance and whatnot. I do like, so I guess it's a combination of the Broadway version and their own creations mixed with what you remember from the animated film. So it's a mesh of all of those. Again, what I do like is that I remember on way back, I think this was 10 years ago, when the Broadway version of The Little Mermaid had come out. There was something I didn't like about it, because on the morning TV shows they have the people come, you know, the stars of the Broadway version come and perform on you know, their morning TV shows, and I happened to catch it one morning, and what I remember is they were skating, and that really bothered me. I'm like, why are they skating? Just no, just stop. That was back then, that was their way of giving the illusion of swimming, but I really thought it was silly. And I like for this, they just had moving sets, and they were just sort of just more wire flying, the wires they put around their waist, and they, you know, put them up as if they're flying around the room. Wire use was more in this live production, and there was no skating, and I like the fact that they didn't do that, because I think that would have drove me nuts. I do like that change that they did. Now let's get to the actors. Alani, who was Ariel, um, I think she was cheerful. Her speaking voice as Ariel, the minimal lines that she had in this, she was just fine. But her singing, I mean, it it was a little shaky. She had some missed notes, and I'm pretty sure she knew that. Um, but I applaud her for doing this live, because it's not easy and anything can go wrong. Um, I like the fact that she had the guts to do this live. It's just not easy. And I like the fact that she had the nerve to do it. Um, she was beautiful, adorable, all those things as Ariel. And I liked her costume design as Ariel. It worked for this version. Okay. Um, Before I go on with the other singing actors, okay, well, let's get to two actors that I think were just so unnecessary, but they gave it their all. Amber Riley, who sang beautifully. I always liked her singing. When she was on Glee or whenever she make appearances singing, she played the MC during the part where Ariel and well, Ariel's sisters sing "We Are the Daughters of Triton." She sang that for them, and I'm like, and you see Amber Riley two times in the show at that part with the sisters, and towards the end singing "Under the Sea" as the grand finale. Um, Unnecessary character. She sang beautifully. She looked great, but we didn't need her. John Stamos. John Stamos, he's a Disney fan. He's a huge Disney fan. He has confessed that he loves Disney, and you know he wanted to play Prince Eric. Although Alani is 18, but John Stamos, no. You could have probably played Eric in the late 80s, early 90s. But he played Chef Louis in this live version. I think he gave it his all. He did great. His singing was passable. It was okay. Um, but it was just so unnecessary. He was another unnecessary character. They could have just as easily played the animation and just transitioned over to the next scene. Uh, there was really no point of having John Stamos in this, but I mean, I think this was probably his dream come true. Yeah, dream come true because he is a huge Disney fan. But in his defense, he had the courage to sing live. Is what I'm trying to say. Sorry. Let's start with Shaggy. I thought Shaggy was another one that was passable, but it was like I think he's a professional singer. He has a lot of hits. He's very popular. I like Shaggy, but I think his voice really didn't fit Sebastian's singing style or the music. Um, he was very charming. Um, I I think he enjoyed himself. It was okay. Um, but it was I guess because I'm so used to hearing Samuel E. White, who is still amazing. I don't know why they didn't get him to do this, but yeah, Shaggy, I'm kind of iffy on him, but again, another one in his defense, he had the courage to do this live, so A for effort. But he wasn't. This just it's crazy because what I'm trying to say is it's crazy. He has an amazing career as a singer, but this really just didn't fit him. Graham Phillips as Eric. Riley, and Queen Latifah. I'll get to her in a minute. Uh, he to me, he was my favorite singer of the night. He really did a great job as Prince Eric. His singing is beautiful. Oh my goodness. Wow. Can he play Prince Eric in the movie version of this? Because he's really good. He was also another one that was very charming. Yeah, he's a good Prince Eric. He was very great. I yeah, he was my favorite of the night. Queen Latifah. Um, I think she was good. She was she was good, and Poor Unfortunate Souls is not a hard song to sing. You pretty much can talk it through. You really don't have to have any. There are no high pitches to tackle. It's just really you can just talk through it. It's very easy to sing, and it worked for her. She made it work, and she was great as Ursula. I liked her costume as well. It looked very nice. How she had a bit where she was on wires for a little bit, and the transitions of her being on wires and sort of in walking around on stage. But they kept the illusion of that like she was swimming, and it was great. I liked it. My overall critiques. Um, Some people weren't happy with the puppets. They didn't like Flounder. Um, I wasn't mad about it. They could have done better, but I don't think it was god awful. I don't think it was terrible. I just like the fact that they didn't have some kid in a t-shirt and shorts with Flounder colors skating around on stage. That would have, now that I would have been like, stop. Like they did in the Broadway version. I'm like, no, no, no. I'm just glad they had a puppet of Flounder while Alani was singing Part of Your World as Ariel. Let's talk about Shaggy's costume. I didn't have a problem with him in the leather suit. I mean, it. I think it would have been again more sillier if he had like the whole crab body character costume. It would have looked just ridiculous. I didn't have a problem with the jacket and red jacket and pants he had on. Here's the problem. I do agree with the complaints of, I'm not angry like most people, but I do kind of agree with the complaints of he could have at least had some claws. I mean, he wasn't using his hands. He could have had some claws to have on his hands. Um, that could have been good because the audience members had claws on their hands.
I also want to give a shout out to uh, Alan Macon and Howard Ashman, who's no longer with us. Um, he died, I believe he died in 92. The composers of the music in The Little Mermaid. I love their music. It means the world to me. So shout out to them. Thank you, Alan Macon, and Howard Ashman for your greatest hits.
Overall, I had my expectations low. I in my life I have been lucky enough to have experienced live musical shows for free because either it was because of a field trip when I was in school, or I knew somebody that knew someone that invited us to go to a live show. And I'm like, okay, the most this has been a few years ago, but it for me was the most recent. Um, I saw not necessarily a musical, but I saw live opera singing, and I love opera. And we were invited to a church where uh, they had an opera program, uh, a group of opera singers, and I enjoyed that. I think the biggest elaborate off Broadway musical I ever got to see, Little Shop of Horrors. I got to see that back in 2003. But what I'm leading into, there were comments online about people were mad that there's some point in the show where Ariel is singing out loud and people were confused, like, well, she lost her voice, why is she singing out loud? What it is she's Ariel and Eric have a duet, and it's a song from the Broadway version. She's actually singing. They're singing in their minds. It's their thoughts. They're not singing for real. And a lot of people missed that, and they couldn't understand. And people were mad, like, where are all these other songs coming from? They're from the Broadway version. It's just, I was just laughing at how people were just making a big deal out of nothing. And I was, I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of nervous about that when they started to do the duet. I was glad that they added it because I was wondering, or are they going to add some songs from the Broadway version? And they did, and they added this duet song. I'll put the name of it because I can't remember it right now. The name of the song from the Broadway version, and I was nervous because I'm like, okay, people are not going to understand that they're singing in their heads. They're not actually singing for real. These are their thoughts. And I'm thinking maybe they could just um, do it in a way of they pre-record it and they're just physically with facial expressions reacting to what was pre-recorded. But then if they had done that, that was an idea I had to myself. But if they had done that, then people would be complaining about, well, I thought this was live. Why aren't you guys singing it live? Why is there a recording of them singing? This isn't live. And it's like, you damned if you do, you damned if you don't. They were like, just forget it, just sing it, just sing it. Just do it. Just do it how it is, the Broadway version. Just sing it. Just whatever. But it's like, people calm down. They're not singing for real. It's their thoughts. It's just, I thought that was just really silly. Okay, but with that, my overall thoughts of this live version, having my expectations low, it's what it turned out how I thought it would. But I think what it was is, I like the fact that they give the original animated classic, my favorite, the respect it deserves, because it's also happy anniversary. It's been 30 years since that movie came out. I was like about 2 years old when that movie came out, but when I saw it, I was 3 because I had it on VHS and I played it. I don't know where my VHS is. I think someone stole it, but whatever. The original singing and speaking voice of Ariel, Jodie Benson, came out and introduced the live show. And I think this is sort of like Disney testing the waters of how people are going to react to this live act. Now with this, they're also going to have a live action movie version. I think the girl's name is Halle Bailey. I hope I'm saying her name right. I'll put her name if it's not correct. Playing Ariel, and yeah, I think they're trying to test what people want to see and what they don't want to see in maybe the movie version. So yeah, and also celebrating 30 years of Little Mermaid. I thought I liked it. I'm sort of in the middle of it. My feelings are in the middle. It's okay. There were some things minor that I didn't like, but it didn't ruin me, because again, I can't say this enough, my expectations were low. I've been to a live musical. They have to change things to make it work for stage, especially in this case for television. So yeah, it was okay. I liked it. It gets a check for me. Yeah. If you haven't seen it yet, I don't know if this is going to Disney Plus. I hope Disney Plus has it where you can rewatch this, I guess. I hope people rewatch it and kind of take it for what it is, or watch it if you haven't seen it yet. Those are my thoughts. What did you think about, if you saw it, the live musical TV production of The Little Mermaid? Did you like it? Or are you in the middle like me, and you kind of accept it for what it is, I guess? Or you just hated it? Why? Please like and subscribe. And thank you for watching.